It starts in the vibrant, chaotic rhythm of Lagos in the late 1970s, a city pulsing with ambition and noise, where opportunities were scarce but dreams were vast. Aliko Dangote, a young man in his early 20s, had just borrowed $3,000 from his uncle, not to flash wealth or chase status symbols, but to do something far more calculated: import and trade, rice and sugar. These were everyday essentials, products that moved fast and touched millions. He knew this wasn't glamorous, but it was smart. It was the kind of practical decision that separates short-term hustlers from long-term visionaries. What made Dangote different even then was his discipline. He wasn't distracted by quick profits. He reinvested everything. Every successful deal rolled back into the business. He built relationships with wholesalers, negotiated better margins, and gradually expanded his reach beyond Lagos. The grind was relentless, but the blueprint was clear. He wasn't just trading goods. He was learning how supply chains worked, how demand shifted, how price volatility could crush or crown a business. Every naira earned was a lesson banked. And it wasn't just about intuition. His roots gave him an edge. Dangote came from a lineage of successful traders. His grandfather, Sanusi Dantata, had been the richest man in West Africa. But what Dangote inherited wasn't money. It was a mindset. A deep understanding of market flows, a respect for logistics, and a quiet confidence that Africa wasn't just a consumer market, it could become a producer. That belief would become the heartbeat of his empire. The $3,000 he borrowed wasn't seed money, it was a spark. And Aliko didn't just build a company from it. He built an industrial revolution, one cement bag and sugar sack at a time. Today, Aliko Dangote sits atop Africa's economic pyramid with an estimated net worth of $23.9 billion, a staggering figure that places him not just as Nigeria's richest man, but the wealthiest individual across the entire continent. His fortune surpasses those of many global celebrities, royals, and even tech founders. But here's what makes Dangote truly exceptional. It's not just the amount he's earned, it's how he earned it. And more importantly, why. Dangote's billions aren't the product of overnight tech disruption or inherited oil wealth. They're the result of a decades-long, methodical expansion across industries that actually build economies. Cement, sugar, salt, oil, agriculture, and infrastructure. He didn't chase the limelight. He chased long-term relevance. His company, the Dangote Group, is now one of the largest industrial conglomerates in Africa, playing a central role in the continent's supply chains and economic stability. What's even more telling is what Dangote does with his wealth. Instead of parking his billions in offshore accounts or splurging on yachts, he reinvests heavily in African development. One of his most ambitious projects, the Dangote refinery, estimated at over $19 billion, is designed to make Nigeria self-sufficient in oil refining and could reshape the entire continent's energy independence. In short, Dangote's legacy isn't built on conspicuous consumption. It's built on economic transformation. His billions are not just a personal achievement. They're a national and continental milestone. Through strategic investment, job creation, and a commitment to solving local problems with local solutions, Aliko Dangote represents a rare breed of billionaire, one whose success is intertwined with the prosperity of millions. Dangote didn't go into flashy tech or global hedge funds. He went into the basics: cement, sugar, flour, salt, oil. In other words, the lifeblood of economies, especially in regions trying to build from the ground up. Dangote figured out early that Africa didn't need more luxury imports. It needed infrastructure, food security, and industrial self-sufficiency. And that's exactly what he built. At one point, Dangote Cement alone accounted for nearly 1/3 of Nigeria's entire stock exchange value. That's how massive his empire became. But despite being worth more than some nations' GDPs, Aliko Dangote is known for a lifestyle that surprises people. He owns just 2 homes in Nigeria. When he travels internationally, he rents places to stay. He doesn't own a yacht. He doesn't throw wild billionaire parties. His cars, luxurious, yes, but not paraded for the cameras. He once told a reporter that he tries to live quietly and focus his energy on productivity. While many billionaires flaunt their wealth through lavish lifestyles, Aliko Dangote's life is marked by an almost jarring sense of modesty. Despite his massive fortune, Dangote has consistently chosen a path of discretion over ostentation. His wealth doesn't show up in flashy cars or designer clothing. Instead, it manifests in the monumental infrastructure projects he's built across Africa.
let's suppose somebody's watching this and say, I want to be like Mr. Dangote, I want to be a successful businessman in Africa. What are the attributes, or anywhere, what are the attributes that you think you have brought to the table which make you successful? Is it intelligence, hard work, persistence, all of those things? What would you say?
I know my business in and out. You can wake me up any time and ask me about fertilizer, ask me about anything that we are doing. And the other one is really to work very hard, and you have to have the tenacity of continuing to, you'll have some hiccups.
He's invested billions into cement factories, refineries, and agricultural businesses, aiming to create long-lasting economic change rather than temporary luxury. Dangote's financial success isn't a symbol of personal excess, but of a purposeful drive. He understands that true power is in creating opportunities for others, rather than indulging in fleeting pleasures. His success is measured not in private jets and expensive watches, but in the millions of jobs his ventures generate and the lives they improve. In an era of ostentatious displays of wealth, Dangote's quiet focus on building an empire that empowers others makes him stand out as a true visionary. His wealth serves as a tool for progress, not an ornament to display. Nowhere is that clearer than with the Dangote refinery in Lagos, a $20 billion project that took years to develop. This refinery is one of the largest in the world and aims to process 650,000 barrels of oil per day. It's not just a business venture, it's a national strategy. Nigeria, despite being oil-rich, used to import the vast majority of its fuel. With this refinery, Dangote is aiming to make the country energy independent. The refinery is so large, it has its own power plant, housing complex, and deep seaport. It's essentially a city built around energy. Of course, money and success don't come without their challenges. Dangote has faced economic fluctuations, government policy shifts, and public scrutiny. Yet through all of it, he's remained focused and deeply involved in philanthropy. His Aliko Dangote Foundation is one of Africa's largest charitable organizations. It has donated millions toward public health, economic empowerment, education, and disaster relief. During the Ebola outbreak in West Africa, Dangote pledged over $3 million in support, providing medical supplies and funding for disease control measures. In the COVID-19 pandemic, he ramped up aid once again, funding isolation centers, testing and vaccination campaigns across Nigeria. His philosophy? Wealth is nothing if it's not used to help people. Another lesser-known side of Dangote is his role as a quiet diplomat and bridge builder. Despite being one of the world's most powerful black billionaires, he rarely wades into politics. Yet his influence across African policy and economics is undeniable. He's consulted by presidents, attends global forums, and is a voice for African economic independence on the world stage. Dangote's impact extends far beyond his factories and fortune. His inclusion on Time's 100 Most Influential People list and consistent ranking among Forbes' most powerful people underscores his global stature. Not just as a billionaire, but as a visionary leader. What sets him apart is his focus on creating opportunity. His businesses have generated tens of thousands of jobs, especially in areas where youth unemployment threatens social stability. Rather than seeking power through control, Dangote uses his influence to empower. He believes Africa doesn't need rescuing. It needs room to rise on its own terms. In countless interviews, he emphasizes that African-led solutions are the key to lasting change. That's why his companies prioritize local sourcing, workforce training, and long-term sustainability. He's investing not just in cement or oil, but in people. For Dangote, true wealth lies in how many lives you can uplift. His empire isn't just a symbol of African success. It's a challenge to the global narrative that prosperity must come from the outside in. He's flipping that script, proving that the future of Africa can and should be written by Africans themselves. Despite his towering success and immense wealth, life in the billionaire lane hasn't always been smooth or predictable for Aliko Dangote. Like many high-profile figures, he's been the target of scams, rumors, and outright falsehoods that spread rapidly, especially on social media. In 2020, for instance, a viral story claimed that Dangote had made a formal proposal to buy Arsenal Football Club, one of England's most famous soccer teams. The claim ignited headlines and speculation worldwide, but Dangote himself later clarified it was nothing more than a dream, not an actual deal. Beyond business, even his personal life has become fodder for tabloid gossip and public speculation in Nigeria. As a fiercely private man, Dangote rarely addresses rumors about his relationships, but that hasn't stopped endless theories and stories about his romantic world from circulating in the press. From alleged marriages to supposed divorces, the tabloids have tried to piece together a picture that Dangote prefers to keep out of the spotlight. These challenges highlight a less glamorous side of billionaire life. The constant scrutiny, misinformation, and invasion of privacy that often come with extraordinary wealth. But through it all, Dangote maintains his focus on his work, his investments, and his mission to uplift Africa. Letting the noise fade into the background as he continues building his legacy. But Dangote remains composed. He rarely gives interviews. He stays out of political mudslinging, and instead he builds factories, refineries, roads, futures. Aliko Dangote isn't just wealthy, he's fiercely disciplined. He reportedly wakes up at 5 a.m. every single day, often beating his entire executive team to the office. Despite managing a multi-billion-dollar empire, he believes in leading by example. While others might delegate and disconnect, Dangote is hands-on with his businesses, from scrutinizing project updates to personally inspecting factory sites. In his own words, hard work is not negotiable. It's this relentless work ethic that separates him from those who inherit wealth he built his fortune from the ground up, brick by brick. At his heart, he's a businessman, but a different kind. Not one obsessed with Silicon Valley-style disruption or global domination. He's interested in legacy. In his words, "I want to be remembered as someone who made Africa better." So what does the future hold? Expansion, innovation, and likely a stronger grip on Africa's industrial backbone. He's pushing into renewable energy, agribusiness, and even tech. Some believe his next big move may involve deeper involvement in education or building global African brands. But through it all, Aliko Dangote remains an anomaly. A man richer than entire oil dynasties who lives without pomp. A global icon with the temperament of a local merchant. And perhaps most importantly, a builder of nations in a time when many only seek to consume them. In a world that celebrates overnight success and viral fame, Aliko Dangote's rise stands as a masterclass in long-term vision. His $23.9 billion fortune didn't come from flashy apps or hype-driven stock runs. It came from building real value in critical industries over decades. Cement, sugar, oil, these aren't glamorous sectors, but they're the foundation of nations. What's remarkable isn't just the wealth he's accumulated, but how deliberately he's used it to shape Africa's economic landscape. His strategy was never just personal enrichment. It was continental transformation. He chose to stay rooted in Nigeria when he could have easily relocated to London or New York. He chose to build massive industrial plants in places others considered too risky. He chose to reinvest in education, health, and infrastructure, helping lift entire communities rather than just expanding his portfolio. What makes Dangote different is that he's never tried to be a celebrity billionaire. You won't find him on a red carpet. He doesn't run his empire on charisma, but on calculation. He studies markets, listens more than he speaks, and builds what people need, not what's trending. That kind of discipline in a world of distractions is rare, and that's what has truly made him great. Ultimately, Aliko Dangote's legacy won't be measured just in dollars. It will be measured in the jobs he created, the factories he built, and the independence he's helped African countries reclaim. He reminds us that real power isn't loud, it's lasting. And real wealth isn't what you flaunt, it's what you build for others.